I failed 17 times before I made IT 2, day 17 restarts. 17 moments where I thought I had it, only to catch myself complaining about traffic or the weather or something stupid. And every single time, I had to go back to day 1. That's when I realized something. I wasn't failing a challenge. I was discovering how little control I actually had over my own mind. Most people think they're in charge of their thoughts. They're not. Your mind runs on autopilot 90% of the time. Carl Jung said it perfectly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, IT will direct your life, and you will call IT fate. That's what these challenges do. They don't just build discipline. They reveal how unconscious you. Leben 2026 is going to be different. Not because the year is special, but because you're going to do something most people are too scared to try. You're going to actually finish something difficult. Not start IT. Finish IT. There's a massive difference. Here's what nobody tells you about self-improvement challenges. The point isn't the challenge itself. The point is who you become by refusing to quit when quitting makes perfect sense. When your brain is screaming to stop. When nobody would blame you for giving up. That's when transformation happens. I'm going to walk you through 7 challenges. Not the easy ones. Not the ones that make you feel good. The ones that break you down so you can rebuild stronger. Each one targets a different weakness. A different autopilot program running your life without permission. But before we start, understand this. These aren't for everyone. Most people will watch this video, feel inspired, and do nothing. Some will start and quit within 72 hours. A tiny few will actually complete one. And those few, they'll become completely different people by the end of 2026. Nietzsche wrote that what they oasnate you makes you stronger. But that's incomplete. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger only if you learn from IT. Only if you integrate the lesson. These challenges force integration. They make the lesson impossible to ignore. Challenge number 1. The 21-day nitrogen monoxide complaint. Experiment for 21 straight days. You eliminate all complaining, criticizing, and gossiping. Completely. If you slip, even once, you'll restart from day 1. Most people fail this challenge between 8 and 12 times before succeeding. Here's why it works. Complaining is how your brain avoids taking responsibility. When you complain about traffic, you're not solving traffic, you're avoiding the fact that you left late. When you complain about your job, you're not improving your situation. You're avoiding the fear of looking for something better. Marcus Aurelius understood this 2,000 years ago. He wrote that the obstacle is the way, but you can't see the way when you're busy complaining about the obstacle. Complaining is mental masturbation. IT feels like you're doing something, but nothing changes. During my 8th attempt, I made IT 2 day 19. Then my car broke down. Expensive repair. Bad timing. And without thinking, I said to my friend, "Of course, this happens to me." 3 words. 19 days gone. Back to day 1. But here's what I learned. That automatic response revealed something.
Why?
Default programming was victim mentality. Things happen to me. I'm unlucky. The universe is against me. All unconscious. All autopilot. All keeping me weak. When you can't complain, your brain has to find solutions. IT has to take responsibility. IT has to grow up. The first week feels impossible, everything irritating. Your brain keeps generating complaints, and you have to catch them before they leave your mouth. It's exhausting. Week 2, something shifts. You start noticing how much other people complain. How much mental energy they waste on things they can't control. How complaining is basically a social disease we spread to each other. Week 3, if you make it, you feel different. Lighter, more powerful, more in control. Robert Greene writes about the laws of power. One law is never appear too perfect, but there's a hidden law underneath. Never give away your power by complaining. Every complaint is an admission of powerlessness. Every criticism is a confession of your own insecurity. Challenge number 2, 75 hard. You've probably heard of this one. 75 days of strict protocol. 2 45-minute workouts daily. One must be outside. Drink a gallon of water. Read 10 pages of non-fiction. Follow a diet. Diet, just nitrogen monoxide, alcohol, or cheat meals. Take a progress photo every day. Here's what makes this different from regular fitness challenges. The point isn't getting in shape. The point is integrity. Keeping a promise to yourself when keeping IT is inconvenient, when it's raining and you still need that outdoor workout, when you're exhausted and still need to read, when you're traveling and still need to hit every requirement. Jordan Peterson talks about the difference between order and chaos. Order is when you do what you said you would do. Chaos is when your mood dictates your behavior. 75 hard is 75 days of choosing order over chaos, of proving to yourself that you're in control. I started this challenge 3 times before completing its first time. I quit on day 12 because I was sick. Valid excuse. Right? Wrong. There are always valid excuses. Doing it anyway. C. Forget. The sounds. Going foul. I made it today 43. Then I had a business emergency. Couldn't get the outdoor workout in. Reset to day 1. That reset hurt more than the first one because I was so close. But that pain taught me something crucial. The pain of quitting at day 43 is worse than the pain of just doing the thing every day. When you quit, you carry that failure with you. When you push through, you build evidence that you're capable. Evidence your brain can't argue with. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events, but from our judgments about events. 75 hard removes judgment. IT doesn't matter if you feel like IT doesn't matter if circumstances aren't perfect. You do IT because you said you would. Period. By day 50, I noticed something. I stopped negotiating with myself. I stopped having internal debates about whether to work out IT. Just became what I do. Like brushing my teeth. Nitrogen monoxide drama. Nitrogen monoxide decision fatigue. Just automatic. Execution. That's the real prize. Not the body. Not the discipline. The identity shift. You stop being a person trying to be disciplined. You become someone for whom discipline is natural. Someone who keeps promises. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to take action. Ready for challenge 3? This one terrifies people more than any physical challenge. Because IT attacks your ego directly. Challenge number 3. The 100 Rejections Challenge. Your goal is simple. Collect 100 no's in real life. Not online. In person, you ask for bold discounts at stores. You pitch unusual ideas to strangers. You initiate conversations with people who intimidate you. You request things you think you'll never get. The first rejection feels like death. Your heart races. Your face gets hot. Your brain screams that everyone is judging you, that you've humiliated yourself, that you should never try again. But here's the secret. That feeling is a lie. Sigmund Freud understood that most of our suffering comes from avoiding discomfort. Rather than experiencing it, we build elaborate defense mechanisms to protect our ego. We stay small to stay safe. The rejection challenge destroys those defenses by repeatedly exposing you to the thing you fear most. Social disapproval. I started this challenge at a coffee shop. I asked the barista for a 50% discount just because she looked confused. Saeed, no, and moved on to the next customer. That was it. The world didn't end. Nobody laughed. Nobody cared. It was over in 5 seconds, but my brain had convinced me that rejection was catastrophic, that being told nitrogen monoxide meant something about my worth as a person. After that first rejection, I realized my brain had been lying to me my entire life. Rejection isn't dangerous. It's just information. By rejection 20, something changed. I started getting creative. I asked a stranger if I could sit with them and hear their life story. They said yes. I asked a restaurant for a free dessert because it was Tuesday. They gave it to me. I asked someone on the street if they'd do 10 push-ups with me right now. They did. Wrote about the concept of amor fati, love of fate. Love what happens. When you actively seek rejection, you stop fearing. When you stop fearing deep, you start taking risks. When you take risks, your entire life expands. Here's what most people don't understand about confidence. Confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from surviving failure and realizing you're still okay. Every rejection proves you can handle rejection. And when you can handle rejection, nothing can stop you. The beautiful part, after about 40 rejections, you start getting more yeses. Not because you're better at asking, because you stop attaching your self-worth to the outcome. People can sense desperation. They can sense neediness. When you genuinely don't care about the answer, they're more likely to say yes. Challenge number 4. The 30-day dopamine reset. For 30 days, you eliminate cheap dopamine sources. Nitrogen monoxide, social media scrolling, nitrogen monoxide, video games, nitrogen monoxide, porn, nitrogen monoxide, junk food, nitrogen monoxide, binge-watching shows, just real life. Work, books, exercise, conversations, nature. This challenge sounds simple until you try. The first 3 days are brutal. You feel bored, anxious, like something is missing. That's because something is missing. The constant stimulation your brain has been addicted to for years. Carl Jung talked about the concept of enantiodromia, the tendency for things to transform into their opposite. When you're constantly stimulated, you become numb. When you embrace boredom, you become sensitive again. The reset isn't about deprivation. It's about restoration. I started this challenge 5 times before making it past day 7. The first attempts, I convinced myself that checking social media for work was necessary, that watching 1 episode wouldn't hurt, that I deserved a break. All lies. All the addiction talking. On my successful attempt, I deleted every app, every game, every easy dopamine source. The first week, I felt like I was going insane. My brain kept reaching for the phone even though there was nothing to check. I'd pick it up, unlock it, stare at the empty screen, and put it down. Over and over. Week 2, something incredible happened. I read 3 books. Not because I'm suddenly smarter, because my brain was so desperate for stimulation. That reading became interesting. I started noticing details in conversations. Colors seemed brighter. Food tasted better. My senses were coming back online. Arthur Schopenhauer believed that desire is the root of suffering, that we're never satisfied because there's always another thing to want. The dopamine reset breaks this cycle. When you stop feeding the endless wanting, you discover something underneath. Contentment. Actual peace. By week 3, I didn't miss any of IT social media, games. None of IT. I realized I'd been using them to avoid feeling, avoid thinking, avoid being alone with myself. The reset forced me to be present. And presence is where real life happens. Challenge number 5. The sacred hour. Every single day, you dedicate exactly 1 hour to learning a single high-value skill. Not browsing, not dabbling. Deep, focused practice on one thing. Could be coding, sales, writing, a language, an instrument. But 1 hour nitrogen monoxide. Exceptions. Every day, most people scatter their energy across 10 different interests and master none. The sacred hour is about depth over breadth, about becoming genuinely good at something instead of knowing a little about everything. Machiavelli understood that power comes from concentrated force. A scattered army loses. A focused army dominates. Your attention is your army. The sacred hour teaches you to concentrate. I chose writing for my sacred hour. Every day, at 6 in the morning, before anything else, I wrote for 60 minutes. First week, IT was garbage. Painful to produce. Painful to read. But I showed up. Week 2, still mostly garbage, but with glimpses of something decent. 3 months in, I'd written more than in the previous 5 years combined. 6 months in, my writing didn't suck anymore. A year in, people started asking me to write for them. Not because I'm talented. Because I showed up for an hour every single day. Jordan Peterson talks about the compounding nature of incremental improvement. 1 hour a day seems small, but over a year, that's 365 hours. That's more than most. People invest in anything outside their job. That's enough to go from beginner to competent. From competent to good. The sacred hour works because IT removes the overwhelm. You're not trying to master something, you're just showing up for an hour. Anyone can do anything for an hour, but most people won't. They'll wait for longer blocks of time that never come. They'll wait to feel ready. They'll wait forever. Challenge number 6 is where most people quit. Not because it's physically hard, because it exposes something they've been hiding from their entire lives. Challenge number 6. The ego death practice. Once a week, you intentionally do something harmless but socially awkward in public. You might sing one verse of a song in a busy place. Lie on the floor in a store for 30 seconds. Ask strangers random philosophical questions. The action doesn't matter. The embarrassment does. What this challenge really is. It's exposure therapy for your ego. Your ego is the part of you that cares what strangers think. That needs approval. That would rather die than look foolish. This challenge systematically murders that part of you. Carl Jung said that the ego is the center of consciousness, but not the center of the personality. Most people mistake their ego for their entire self. They think if their ego is damaged, they're damaged. The ego death practice proves this wrong. You can humiliate your ego and remain perfectly fine. My first attempt at this challenge, I had to lie on the floor of a busy mall for 30 seconds. I planned it for a week, rehearsed it, psyched myself up. When the moment came, I couldn't do IT. I walked around for an hour making excuses. Finally, I just did IT. Lay down, counted to 30, got up. Nobody cared. A few people glanced. One person asked if I was okay. That was IT. 30 seconds of discomfort followed by an enormous rush of freedom. I'd been carrying this fear of public embarrassment for 30 years. 30 seconds destroyed IT. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Your fear of embarrassment isn't about the embarrassment itself. I tease about what you believe embarrassment means. That you're weird, unworthy, a failure. These beliefs run your life until you challenge them. The second week, I sang happy birthday to myself in a coffee shop. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Some people smiled. Some ignored me. Nobody attacked me. Nobody even remembered it 5 minutes later, but I remembered. I remembered that I could do something my ego screamed not to do and survive. By week 8, these challenges became fun, liberating. I started looking for opportunities to be weird in public. Not for attention, for freedom. Freedom from the invisible prison of caring what strangers think. That prison keeps most people small their entire lives. Robert Greene writes about the masks we wear in public, the personas we construct to be acceptable, the ego death practice burns. These masks off, you stop performing, stop pretending, start existing as you actually are. Weird, imperfect, fully human. Challenge number 7. Walking meditation. Every single day, you take a 20-minute walk alone. Nitrogen monoxide music, nitrogen monoxide podcasts, nitrogen monoxide phone. Just you, your breath, and you notice your thoughts without grabbing onto them. You watch them come and go like clouds. This sounds easy. It's not. Your mind will resist like crazy. After 2 minutes of silence, your brain will generate urgent reasons why you need to check your phone, important messages, critical information, all lies, all your brain trying to avoid the one thing it fears most. Stillness. Marcus Aurelius practiced this 2,000 years ago. He called it retreating into yourself. He wrote that nowhere can you go for a more peaceful retreat than your own mind. But most people never visit their own mind. They stay distracted, busy, stimulated, anything to avoid the silence. I started this practice thinking I'd be bored. Instead, I discovered my mind is never quiet. There's a constant stream of thoughts, worries, plans, judgments, most of it useless, most of it repetitive. The walking meditation doesn't stop the thoughts. It helps you see them without believing them. Week 1, every walk felt like torture. My mind kept insisting I was wasting time, that I should be productive, that I was falling behind, but I kept walking. Week 2, the urgency faded. Week 3, I started looking forward to the walks. They became the most productive part of my day. Not productive in the traditional sense. Productive in that they cleared the mental clutter. After a walk, I could think clearly, make decisions, see solutions that were invisible before. The walk in meditation wasn't taking time from my work. It was making my work better. Nietzsche understood that the sedentary life is the enemy of great thoughts, that all truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. The walking meditation combines movement with mindfulness. It is not about thinking through problems. It is about creating space for insights to emerge. Here's what happens after 30 days of daily walking meditation. Your nervous system calms down. You stop operating in constant fight or flight. Your body remembers what peace feels like. And from that peaceful state, you can handle whatever life throws at you. Jordan Peterson talks about the importance of voluntarily confronting chaos. The walking meditation is the opposite. It's voluntarily embracing order, silence, stillness. Most people avoid both chaos and stillness. They stay in the mediocre middle, comfortable but never growing. These 7 challenges work together. The no complaint experiment teaches you mental discipline. 75 hard teaches you physical discipline. The rejection challenge teaches you emotional resilience. The dopamine reset restores your sensitivity. The sacred hour builds mastery. The ego death practice destroys false identity. The walking meditation integrates everything. You don't have to do all 7 at once. In fact, don't Pick one. The one that scares you most. That's the one you need. That's the one targeting your biggest weakness. Your biggest autopilot program. Your biggest unconscious pattern. Plato believed that life is not worth living. These challenges force examination. They make you look at how you've been living, how you've been avoiding, how you've been staying comfortable at the cost of becoming who you could be. The truth is, most people won't do any of these challenges. They'll watch this video, feel inspired, maybe even tell someone about IT, then do nothing, because doing nothing is easier, safer, more comfortable. But comfortable people don't change. They just age. The few who actually pick one challenge and commit, they'll be unrecognizable by the end of 2026, not because the challenge is magic, because finishing something difficult rewrites your identity. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're not a quitter, that you're someone who does hard things. Now comes the moment of truth. Are you going to be like most people, or are you different? Here's what I need you to understand. These challenges aren't about achievement. They're about revelation. They reveal who you actually are versus who you think you are. Most people live their entire lives believing stories about themselves that aren't true. I believed I was disciplined until 75 hard showed me I wasn't. I believed I was confident until the rejection challenge revealed my fear. I believed I was present until walking meditation exposed how scattered my mind actually was. These challenges don't build character. They reveal the lack of IT. Then they give you the opportunity to build what's missing. Carl Jung talked about the concept of individuation, the process of becoming who you actually are instead of who society wants you to be. These challenges are forced individuation, taste strip, out the comfortable lies, the excuses, the victim stories. What's left is the raw material of your actual self. Here's what happens when you complete even one of these challenges. You gain evidence, not belief, not hope, not motivation. Evidence that you can do hard things. Evidence that your feelings don't control you. Evidence that you're more capable than you thought, and evidence changes everything. Before completing my first challenge, I had to talk myself into difficult tasks, negotiate with myself, create elaborate motivational systems. After completing, I just do things. The internal negotiation stopped. Not because I became superhuman, because I have proof that I'm someone who finishes what they start. Sigmund Freud believed that the ego develops through managing the conflict between desire and reality. These challenges are ego development on steroids. Your desire screams to quit. Reality demands you continue. The ego that emerges from that conflict is stronger than the one that went in. Let's talk about failure. Because you will fail. Multiple times, probably. I failed 17 times on the No Complaint Challenge, 3 times on hard, countless times on the others. Failure isn't the problem. Quitting is the problem. Failure and quitting are not the same thing. When you fail a challenge, you have 2 choices. You can quit and confirm your weakness, or you can restart and prove your strength. Most people quit. They tell themselves the challenge was stupid anyway, that they're too busy, that they'll try again later. Later never comes. The few who restart immediately, they're the ones who change. Because restarting after failure is harder than starting fresh. IT requires admitting you failed, facing that failure, and choosing to try again anyway. That's character. That's real strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your failures in these challenges aren't obstacles to growth. They are the growth. Each restart teaches you something about your patterns, your triggers, your weaknesses. Here's the pattern I noticed. I always failed the no complaint challenge when I was stressed. I always quit 75 hard when I had legitimate excuses. I always avoided the ego death practice when I felt insecure. These patterns revealed my coping mechanisms, my autopilot responses to discomfort. Once you see the pattern, you can change it. But you can't see the pattern without the challenge. You can't see your unconscious programming while it's running smoothly. You need friction, difficulty, failure. These challenges provide all three said that you need chaos in your soul to give birth to a dancing star. These challenges are controlled chaos, voluntary difficulty, chosen struggle, and from that struggle, something new emerges. Not a better version of who you were. A different person entirely. Let me tell you what you're actually afraid of. You're not afraid of the challenges. You're afraid of what succeeding would mean. Because if you can complete a difficult challenge, you have nitrogen monoxide, more excuses. You can't say you're too weak or too undisciplined or too broken. You'd have to admit you've been capable all along. You just chose comfort instead. That's a hard truth. Easier to stay small and blame circumstances than to get big and take responsibility. These challenges remove the option to stay small. They force growth, whether you like IT or not, whether you're ready or not. Robert Greene teaches that your enemies are often your best teachers. These challenges make enemies of your worst traits. Your complaining, your weakness, your ego, your distraction, your fear. And by fighting these enemies, you become stronger than they are. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, pick one challenge from this list. The one that makes you most uncomfortable. That's your challenge for 2026. Post it in the comments. Make IT public. Make IT real. WHY. Post IT publicly. Because private goals, the equivalent public commitments create accountability. When you tell people what you're doing, quitting becomes harder. You'd have to admit failure, not just to yourself, but to others. That extra pressure keeps you moving when motivation fades. Jordan Peterson talks about announcing your goals carefully. He says telling people can give you the satisfaction without doing the work. That's true for vague goals. But specific challenges with clear rules don't have that problem. You either completed 75 days or you didn't. You either got 100 rejections or you didn't. There's nitrogen monoxide gray area. The beautiful thing about challenges with binary outcomes is they remove you can't kind of complete them. You can't do most of IT and call IT success. You either finish or you don't. That clarity is powerful. IT forces honesty epic that we have control over our choices and nothing else. These challenges are pure choice. You choose to start. You choose to continue. You choose to restart after failure. Nobody can make you do them. Nobody can do them for you. They're entirely in your control. And that's why they work. Because when you exercise control where you have you stop feeling powerless where you don't. You can't control the economy or politics or other people. But you can control whether you complain today. Whether you work out today. Whether you face rejection today. That control compounds into power. Here's my final challenge to you. Don't be like everyone else who watches this and does nothing. Don't let this be another video you forget. By tomorrow, pick one challenge. Start today. Fail if you need to. Restart as many times as IT6. But finish it, because the version of you that finishes is the version that changes everything in 2026. That version is waiting, watching, wondering if you'll finally become them. Will you? The choice is yours. The challenges are clear. The year is starting. What happens next is entirely up to you. Choose the hard path. Choose growth. Choose to become someone different. 2026 is your year, but only if you make IT happen. Right now, today. Let's go.